Hello everybody, today is 16th of April. My name is Sahil and welcome to the newspaper analysis. Guys, first of all, let's have a look on today's GS folder. So today we'll take a quote from Alexis de Tocqueville, who has been a prominent thinker onto the political science as well as in philosophy. He says nothing is more wonderful than the art of being free, but nothing is harder to learn how to use that freedom. Now, this particular thing is very well known that every kind of freedom comes with its reasonable restriction. But many a times, in order to enjoy the absolute freedom, we forget those reasonable restrictions and become an obstruction into the exercise of others' freedom also. So, learn how to use the freedom is the most important premise of being free. So, guys, please do utilize this particular quote in GS paper number 2, and now we'll be moving to the newspaper analysis. Now, friends, taking up the first article, this article has been taken from the Hindu as well as from the Indian Express newspaper, and it will be important for the GS paper number 2, the issues related to the judiciary. Now, guys, it has been seen into our previous few newspaper discussions that there are high number of vacancies into the High Court. We have already seen that approximately 1080 is the sanctioned strength of the High Courts across the country, but 419 vacancies approximately are there. So it means that 39% of the seats into the High Court are vacant. Now, guys, all this particular data was told by the Parliamentary Standing Committee report. So, guys, as these high number of vacancies are there, often the Supreme Court has nudged the center onto this particular aspect. And now, what has done, the Supreme Court has specifically asked the center that all the appointments of the judges should be expedited into a time frame. Now, before going into this particular matter into the detail, we will be taking some basics also. See, guys, when we talk about the judges of the High Court, their appointment is taken under the article number 217 of the Indian Constitution, and the president, after the consulting with the Chief Justice of India and at least a collegium of two Supreme Court judges, appoint a judge into the High Court. However, at the same time, guys, for the appointment of High Court judges, there is also the memorandum of procedure. Now, guys, under the memorandum of procedure, there is one more alternative way also which has been given. So the appointment for the judges can also be initiated by the Chief Justice of High Court. So Chief Justice of High Court will be identifying some of the nominees and will send the name to the state government. Then the state government will forward those names to the Union Law Ministry. Then the Union Law Ministry will send those names to the Supreme Court Collegium, and then the Supreme Court Collegium along with the CGI can recommend these names to the president, and then the judges can be appointed. Now, guys, what has happened into the past, directly not under this particular route, but directly under the virtue of article number 217, 55 recommendations have been made by the Supreme Court Collegium to the president, but no decision has been taken onto them. Those appointments have not been made. So basically, the Supreme Court has asked the center that please tell us a timeline within which these recommendations the decision will be taken. However, the Attorney General, on to the behalf of the center, had said that in fact the High Courts have not been able to send at least 220 recommendations via their collegium, and because of that, so many vacancies are there. But, guys, again, the Supreme Court had pulled back the center and had said that at least out of these 55 recommendations that had already been sent, at least you should clear the 10 recommendations within the period of 3 months, and for the other recommendations also, you should give us a very clear timeline. And it has been provided by center that they will try it in a positive direction, that the appointments into the High Courts are pushed positively. So, guys, we can see that this particular issue of the vacancies into the High Courts had become a very important matter, as repeatedly so many times it has been there. Guys, when we talk about so much of the vacancies, it creates a large number of systemic problems. It creates the judicial backpiling of the cases. Then, guys, it reduces the ease of justice for the citizens and all such kind of problems. So, guys, that is all about this article. Please do utilize it, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Guys, this article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and the findings here can be important for GS paper number 1, the society and women related issues, as well as GS paper number 2, social justice. Now, guys, here we can see that the UNFPA, that is the United Nations Population Fund, has released their flagship report, that is the State of World Population Report 2021. which is titled as My Body is My Own. Now, guys, the theme of this particular report is centered onto the bodily autonomy. Now, first of all, we'll understand the concept of the bodily autonomy. So, it can be defined as the power and agency to make choices about your own body without the fear of violence or having someone else decide for you. Now, the choices with respect to the body are many. It includes using the contraceptive or not using the contraceptive, seeking the health care with the doctor of your own choice, even onto the matter of sexuality. They all are into the scope of the bodily autonomy. And often, guys, it has been seen that the women's are not provided these bodily autonomy, even with respect to their reproductive rights. They are not given a considerable say. Now, guys, this particular report had taken in account the data from 57 countries, and it has been found that 45% of the women into the 57 countries, they have no autonomy over their body. And there are severe instances where their bodily autonomy is violated. Now, guys, the example of violation of bodily autonomy includes the child marriages, because before the attaining a major age, women doesn't knows the consequences of child age, and without taking her opinion into the consideration, she is married off. Then there are the instances of the female genital mutilation. Then there are the lack of contraceptive choices, which leads to the pregnancies, unplanned pregnancies. Then there are the unwanted sex exchanges that are done for a sake of a home or food. And guys, at the same time, there are also the perception, such as the people who are having the different sexual orientations and gender identities, they cannot walk down a street without fearing assault or humiliation. Even, guys, the section number 377 has been decriminalized, but guys, still the taboo is there. Then, guys, further, there are also the problems with the people who are disabled. They are stripped of their rights to self determination. They don't have the freedom from violence, as well as they don't enjoy a safe and satisfying sexual life. So because of this particular thing, the bodily autonomy is denied. And guys, we can see that so many of the women, particularly into the countries, are facing the disintegration of bodily autonomy. Further, it has also been provided by the report that approximately 75% of the countries only which have been surveyed have legalized the free, full and equal access to contraception. Still, even the contraceptions have not been provided in 25% of countries. So, guys, that is all about this particular article. Please do utilize these findings into the answer related to the society. So, that is all. Now we'll move to the next article. Friends, this article has been taken from the Indian Express, and into this article, it has been highlighted that into the Indian judiciary, there is lack of female representation onto the bench, as well as there is a lack of female sensitivity. Now, guys, first of all, let's talk about the basic background. So, a petition was filed into the Supreme Court by the Supreme Court Women Lawyers Association, in which it asked that there is an urgent intervention that is needed to be made by the Supreme Court, so that more women judges are there. Now, guys, if we see the data, then we can see that into the 25 high courts, right now there are only 81 female judges. And, guys, even there has been no female Chief Justice of India. Moreover, guys, into the Supreme Court also, there is just one female judge against the 28 male judges. And, guys, further, if we put into the absolute percentage, it has been provided that there are only 11% of women into the Indian judiciary. And, guys, at the same time, even into the High Court, there is only one High Court that is having the women Chief Justice, and that is into the Telangana, where the Chief Justice Hema Kohli is there. So clearly, a kind of a sex skewedness into the judiciary can be seen, and therefore the urgent intervention is needed. Now, guys, the Chief Justice of India had provided that the collegium's only priority is to find the suitable candidates. And though there is also a need that the gender issue is to be taken up, but there is no problem of attitude into the judges. And it has also been pointed out that many a times women advocate themselves when they are invited to become the judges. They decline the offer, citing the domestic responsibilities with respect to their children and all such kind of things. However, guys, at the same time, it has also been said that it is not truly showing the spectrum, because at the same time there are many women also who want to come into the judiciary, but the already male dominance into the collegium, into the judiciary, obstructs their pathways. Now, guys, when we talk about the elevation into the High Court, it is not a position where you can apply. Rather, you yourself are invited onto the basis of your caliber. Now, as a majority of males had occupied the judicial positions, they are also recommending the names of the male colleague which they found are worthy to be holding the judicial offices, and therefore many a times the females or the women, they are overlooked. So therefore still there is a need that a kind of a mechanism is to be made where more of a female representation can be there. So guys, this is one of the dimension when we talk about the kind of gender skewedness in India. We focus on many of the aspect, but judiciary is also one of the area. So that is all, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Friends, this article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and it will be important for GS paper number 2, the foreign policy of the developed countries. And here, the USA will be the centerpiece of concern. Now, it has been provided that the Joe Biden had become the new president into the US, and actually, some of his decisions are similar to that of Donald Trump's, and we can see it by the help of certain examples. Now, guys, first of all, the example can be taken in respect to the China. So, into the month of March, there was the Alaska meet. Into the Alaska meet, there was an ugly confrontation that happened between the representatives of US and China, and it shows that still the antagonization is continuing, which became very much vocal into the time of Trump. Then, guys, into the context of Russia, it has been seen that the Joe Biden has explicitly called the Russian President Putin as a killer, and this thing shows that a confrontationary approach is there. Then, guys, similarly, when we talk about the Iran, with respect to the signing of joint comprehensive plan of action, Joe Biden is showing a kind of a reluctance, and exactly the same approach was also adopted by the Donald Trump. Guys, it was seen that during the time of Donald Trump, the Trump believed that the origin of the COVID-19 virus was from the China, and therefore China was systemically targeted, and still same kind of approach is being adopted. Then, guys, into the time of the Donald Trump, USA walked out of joint comprehensive plan of action, and still the same status is there. And guys, onto the Russia's front also, after the 2014, the relations degraded after the annexation of the Crimea by the Russia, and the same degradation was continued till the Trump's period, and now also this is going on. Further, guys, see, number one, these three countries are holding important strategic positions into the world. At the same time, there are the allies also which are linked with each other, and all of this points to the possibility of a new Cold War that can be ignited if the foreign policy of USA vis-a-vis these countries is not prepared. And further, this possibility becomes even more real because, guys, as the USA is holding and antagonizing relations with them, between them the relations are strengthening up. The example is the recent bilateral engagements between the China and the Russia. Guys, here we can see that both of the countries have agreed that they will harmonize their vision under the Eurasian Economic Union, which will be sponsored by Russia, and the China's Belt and Road Initiative. Both are supporting each other under the name of the Great Eurasian Partnership. And then, guys, the next factor that comes into the account is the allies that are there on both of the sides. Now, when we talk about the allies, the important ones are the middle powers. Now, the middle powers are those countries which are aspiring to be the superpowers, but still they are short of that stature. And into the middle powers, right now, there are the four major countries, that is the Japan, Iran, Turkey, and India. Now, guys, out of these four, first of all, Japan and India, they are aligned with into the USA's camp. And when we talk about the Iran as well as the Turkey, they are finding more comfortable position into the camp led by the Russia. Now, guys, Iran, because of the sanctions that has been imposed by the USA, is more comfortable with the Russia, and the Turkey, though it is a member of NATO, but still, guys, it feels that Russia believes more into the concerns of the Turkey rather than USA. So, guys, the four major middle powers, sorry, are there, and two are divided on both of the sides. However, there are certain complications also. First of all, when we talk about the Japan, now, guys, though Japan has the island disputes with the China and believes that the USA can help the Japan in those concerns, but at the same time, Japan is very much dependent onto the China in terms of economy. See, approximately 24% of Japanese imports, they are coming from China, and 19% of the Japanese exports are going to the China. So economic cooperation is huge. And then, guys, on to the infrastructural development also. There is the $200 billion partnership for quality infrastructure that has been initiated by the Japan, and under it, the infrastructure projects into the Asia and Africa will be financed. And even some of the projects, they are overlapping with the projects under the Belt and Road Initiative. So this shows that the cooperating points between the Japan and China are huge, and therefore there is some complication as on which side actually Japan will be more inclined. Though right now it feels that it will be the more of a USA's side. Then when we talk about the other middle power, that is the India, then India is also having such kind of complications. Into this, the first complication can be seen that, guys, India is sharing a huge land border with the China. Approximately 3500 kilometer of land border is there. Now, first of all, this land border is a point of dispute, as we have seen that onto the LAC there were the confrontation between the India and China. And secondly, because of the same land border, we cannot also overly antagonize the China. And then, guys, thirdly, onto the economic concerns also, we have seen that many of the strategic imports into the India are coming from the China. For example, with respect to the pharmaceuticals, API, that is the active pharmaceutical ingredients, they are coming from the China. In terms of electronic telecommunication equipment, we are overly dependent onto the China. And then, guys, after that, a third major power, that is a Turkey, there are also certain complications. See, now the Turkey is being moved under a kind of a new philosophy of new Ottomanism. Now, under the new Ottomanism, under which Turkey is enhancing the military as well as doctrinal cooperation with the former territories of the Ottoman Empire, and it aims to again achieve the glory of the Ottoman Empire. But at the same time, Turkey also wants to keep the relations with the USA intact, and also wants to have a room to make the choices. So, guys, basically these four middle powers, they will define that whether the future Cold War will be there or not. But the most probable speculation that now appears feasible is that these four middle powers, they will exercise their strategic autonomy and will not be fixating onto the idea of one camp. So therefore a middle the kind of a Cold War can be avoided if these middle powers play by the principle of multipolarity. So, guys, that is all about this particular article. An excellent article. Please do utilize it for your mains as well as it can be important for your interview. So that is all. Now we'll be moving to the next article. Now, guys, this article has been taken from the Indian Express, and it will be important for your preliminary examination for the art and culture related question, as well as for your GS paper number 1 also it can be utilized. Now, guys, it talks about the unearthing of the ancient remnants of the Buddhist monastery into the Jharkhand. So, guys, here we can see that into the village of Bahranpur into the Jharkhand, the Archaeological Survey of India had said that at least 900-year-old monastery has been unearthed, and in this particular monastery is containing the major remnants of Buddhism, but there are also some remnants of the Shaivism, and therefore it can be an example of the assimilation of the two religions. Now, first of all, we will see that what excavations have found out. So first of all, there are the four statues of the Taras that have been found. Now, guys, when we talk about Tara, Tara is an important deity into the Tibetan form of Buddhism. She can also be called as the female counterpart of the Bodhisattva. Guys, she is very much associated with one particular sect of Buddhism, that is the Vajrayana Buddhism, and she is also called as the mother of liberation as well as the deity of meditation. And, guys, further, these Tara deities, they had displayed the Varda Mudra, which is a kind of a hand gesture, and it signifies the dispensing of boons. Now, after that, there are the six statues of the Buddha which have also been found, and these Buddha statues are into the Bhumi Sparsh Mudra, where all the five fingers of the right hand, they are extended towards the earth, and it symbolizes the enlightenment of the Buddha. Then the remnants have been also found of the goddess Maheshwari with a coiled round crown and a chakra. Now, it basically shows that there was a kind of a cultural assimilation, because the remnants of both Shaivism and Buddhism are being found onto the same site. Then, guys, basically this particular region of the Jharkhand has historically also been important, because sporadically there have been many of the excavations, though on a very small scale, and many a times some of the ancient remnants have been found, such as the painted graveware pottery, etc. But, guys, these are the important findings that have been made now. So, guys, that is all. Please keep it in mind. And now we'll be moving to the next article. Guys, this particular article has been taken from the Indian Express newspaper, and here we can see that the Reserve Bank of India is considering the licenses for the universal as well as for the small finance bank. Now guys, right now no license clearly has been given, just the applications have been invited, so you don't need to go too much into the nitty gritties of this particular article. However, here one interesting terminology has been used, that is the on-tap licenses. Now guys, the on-tap licenses is a new approach that has been adopted by the RBI in giving the licenses. Now earlier what used to happen, the RBI itself used to call for the licenses, but now the system has been changed. Now anyone who wants to start with a bank, if he has a minimum prescribed capital, he can himself approach the RBI and can give the application if he is interested. Now guys, when we are talking about the new banks, we have also seen that few days back there was the internal working group committee report, and that internal working group committee had also recommended that the corporates should also be allowed to come into the banking sector because more capital and more banks are needed. However guys, up till now no decision has been taken on allowing the the corporates into the banks, but some new bank licenses are being explored. So guys, into a few couple of days we'll see that how this particular matter will be unfolding. So guys, that is all about the today's newspaper analysis. I hope that you have understood it. Thank you so much.